very real. Reverse culture shock. When you come home to America, you're going to begin to see the weaknesses of your own home culture in a way you've never seen before. You'll almost get mad at America. Prepare for it, embrace it, work your way through it. The key is prepare for it. Reverse culture shock is real. Okay, one more. We used to train people we would take overseas to have 2 answers when they came back home. Answer number 1 to, how was your trip? You have to determine pretty quick whether they really want the long answer or the short answer. If you can determine they want the long answer, where they really pull you aside and say, tell me about your trip, man, you bare your soul. Tell them, give them 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an afternoon. But you've got to determine that. The second answer, we used to call the 30-second answer. Most people are going to want the 30-second answer. Hey, how was your trip? You work out a preparatory answer to begin with for 30 seconds. Don't think evil of them. Most people have no context or place to put the experience you've had. If you overwhelm them, you will turn them off. So prepare your all-afternoon answer, prepare your 30-second answer, because people want to know. Whether they have the capacity to hear what you can tell them is really the question you have to determine. It's true too, man. And never, I never liked the question, how was your vacation? Be gracious, because you worked hard, you brought the gospel. Don't punch them. That's the main thing I always tell them. Don't punch them. Just say, we weren't on vacation, we were serving the Lord. It's true, I hated that. Culture shock, it's real. Culture shock is real. It always takes me about a week to love America again after I come back from. There are things I immediately say, oh, it's so good to be home. Then there are things I now see as a world Christian. So, it's real. I had a mentor tell me one time, the more you travel, the more you see God. God's not in America. It's true. Very true. God is already at those places. You haven't brought God to those people. He's already there. You're coming to work enjoying what He's already doing. We probably don't know what that is, but go and join in and see what He's doing. Don't be so haughty to think you're bringing God to them. God's already there. You're just bringing your piece in hopes to put together other pieces God's been working on to bring into a puzzle that turns into a beautiful picture. That's what we do. That's what we do.
So reverse culture shock was just the worst, because I came from a place where we were doing house churches and like nothing American about it in the sense of how we served. And so when I came back, and granted, I've seen poverty there. My mom picked me up from the airport. It was wonderful. I wasn't moving back, actually. It was just it was 11 months, and I was just coming back for a home visit. And my mom picked me up, and we were driving back home, and there was a homeless man with a sign saying, out of work, please help. My mom proceeds to roll down her window, and she was going to give the gentleman $1. And I was furious. I was like, that man is not poor. That man has legs. That man can go get himself a job. I was like, that is not poverty. I've seen poverty. That man can do, you have no idea. Don't give him that $1. There's so people, I was just going up. I felt awful afterwards. I apologized to my mom. She gave the man $1, so I'm glad I didn't stop her from serving someone else. I was like, who am I to judge? But like, you go through like this just disgust of like, oh, you Americans, you have no, and it was terrible. You get on this kind of, maybe not a high horse, but you almost feel like your eyes have been opened to something that they don't know. And there is that balance. Like, I had such a hard time in church. Like, I came from a church of like at least 1,000 people going to that church, and I was nervous. I was scared. Like, I was also a little judgmental. I'm like, are these people really being spiritually fed? You just sit here, you sing, you sit down, you listen, you leave. Like, I came from churches where we were family. As Sunday was all day. Like, you sat there, you let the Spirit lead your conversation. You really, truly, when you had communion, you broke tortillas, we used in Mexico, tortilla, and we passed around the tortilla. Sometimes we would be out in a park and just share from one cup our drink. Sometimes we would be sitting at a dinner table and like having a full meal with each other. And it was just so incredible, really just diving into each other's lives. I felt that that was the Acts 2 church that I was living. And so to come back to the States and be much more structured, I had to learn the balance of not being ethnocentric to my own culture, to my own people, and to know that God can work in so many different ways, that just because one way felt better to me doesn't mean that it was wrong for over here. It's and vice versa, because you might come from a congregation that leads 3 songs, prays, leads 3 songs, sits, listens to a lesson, has communion, and then leaves. And when you go to maybe a church that is like, well, women, I need you to come stand up and express your thoughts, or, you know, let's pray over this person right now. Let's stop this conversation and let's go help. It's not wrong. You have to be accepting of God is working in every which way. And I think that's just an important thing to just remember. But yeah, reverse culture shock.